I want great things with my wife, Jeff, but it seems like she's rewriting history. Seems like she's never happy. And today, Cynthia and I are going to talk about this topic. Delusional, entitled women can't be bargained with. And I, the picture behind the words here, I went into Chat GPT and I said, create for me a picture of an entitled woman. And it came up with this one where she's got the big pearls. She doesn't look very happy, right? So I like to laugh in these topics as much as possible. And I laugh a bit at this topic. Delusional, entitled women can't be bargained with. Well, any delusional or entitled person probably shouldn't be bargained with. But the topic of today is because so many guys that we work with, and I'm looking at your names here, so some of you, and I've been there, where you try to intellectualize, you try to talk her through it, you try to rationalize, you try to get her to understand your point of view logically. And that's often not very effective. And we're going to talk about why that is and what to do instead. The difference between our expectation and reality often drives disappointment, it drives unhappiness. Now, actual delusional disorder is a thing, which we're not here to diagnose or dive into today. But if someone's actually has a disorder around this, it can be an unshakable belief in something that's not true. The belief isn't part of the person's culture or subculture, and almost everyone else knows this belief to be false. And the symptoms of this, feelings of being exploited, preoccupation with the loyalty or trustworthiness of friends, tendency to read threatening meanings into benign remarks, persistently holds grudges, readiness to respond and react to perceived slights. And some men may think, dang, my wife has a lot of those bullets on that list. And okay, we're not here to diagnose anyone today. Let me make that clear. Otherwise, entitled, well, are you entitled to what you want from your partner? I asked Psychology today and found this article. Well, people may feel justified to their entitlements because they think they've made sacrifices. They think because they've had uncomfortable emotions. They think that because they have some kind of superior knowledge that they're entitled to something that they're not getting. And this can really erode happiness in life and in relationships, right? So becoming aware of those entitlements can help us shift. But well, what is entitlement? In a relationship is when you decide consciously or subconsciously that what you want is so important to you that it outweighs what your partner may want. And it's so important that it bypasses any effort to negotiate what you want with your partner. And this last line, I want to start with you, Cynthia, and ask you, it's so important to the person that it bypasses any effort to negotiate what the partner wants, what you want with your partner. So, as you know, many of the guys come to us when they feel like they've tried to logically explain something, to ask her to come to the table or let's be a team on this. But she feels like something that she wants is beyond what he cares about right now and how she's got to that place. So, what are you hearing so far, and how can a woman get to this place where she feels like she's justified in what she wants, regardless of what his perception is? Let's start there.
Yeah, uh, sometimes it reminds me of the bull in the china shop. A woman can get to that place if she's felt in the past that uh, what she thought, believed, or wanted didn't matter, whether or not that's true or not, whether or not she even voiced that, whether or not she willingly gave up parts of what she might want or need for the collective excitement of the relationship. Uh, she may even not have confidence in herself now to come in a softer, open place to share wants or needs or desires. And so, what a woman will do is become almost the bull and believe that the only way through this is to try to railroad you or to be the bull with the horns. And it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with her own sense of confidence in herself. Uh, and I could say confidence in herself because it's something she has learned recently, or we could even say that this is how she's the only way she's known to get what she wanted or needed, even if it's on an unconscious level from a very small person.
One thing I love that you've said in the past is that the little girl inside of her may not feel like she deserves a healthy relationship, that she deserves relationship, or she hasn't envisioned that like from childhood. And so we want good things here. These men that are here are good guys. We want great things in the world and we want to have compassion. And I think that helps with compassion. Say more about the little girl who may not feel like she either deserves or has no model of good relationship. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think for any person, if for some reason you grow up thinking that way, whether it's the way, she witnessed her parents interact or it's just her experiences as a child, if there's a deep, deep wounding about her not deserving, that is such an excruciating wound to feel the sadness and the grief, the pain and anger of that acting out with entitlement or like that bull in the china shop is a really good way to not have to feel all that. And it almost numbs out that experience. But then what happens with that numbing out is really confusing behaviors, assertions, things she blames you for, or feeling like no matter what you do, no matter what you open for her, welcome her into in that sacred masculine, it's like a plexiglass. You just can't get through to her.
Yes, let's talk about, well, what does it look like? I grabbed an excerpt from a book that we recommend. It's a more advanced book. What does it look like when a woman's not doing the plexiglass? That a good man with skill will see her trying. And so, this excerpt from the book Dear Lover by David Data, he wrote, to a woman, he's saying this to a woman, your heart sensitivity can be a great gift to him. Your suffering, fully and responsive express, can teach him much about how his self enclosed and unfeeling consciousness is painting the entire world. So, I'll pause there. Part of what we hear is that a woman will say, you haven't seen me, you ignored me. She feels betrayed in a certain way emotionally, and she feels like he was unconscious, he wasn't present. And so he goes on to write to a woman, your heart's vulnerable strength can inspire his deepest gifts and evoke his commitment to open and give his love to you and the world without fear, which is freedom he most deeply desires. But you can only help him if you are open. So, what does it mean for a woman to have heart sensitivity and see it as a gift to him when she's open? What will he see when she's not doing the plexiglass thing?
Yeah, what you will see is when you, as a man, you are kind of take the arrow and pierce it into her heart, as in you're touching that original thought she has. For example, maybe it's the I don't deserve love. And you are pushing forward the framework of a relationship of, hey, you deserve love. We deserve this together. That arrow will open her where there's shoulders down and there's a relief of finally someone's touching and holding the stone in me that has been weighing me down my whole life and exhausting me as I try to put layer upon layer of compensation over it. That's heart open sensitivity. And that doesn't mean it's then perfect, joyful Cinderella tripping through the tulips from then on out, but there's a willingness to be healed by what you're offering. And that's very different than completely shut off, no matter what you're saying in that like redwood tree energy, that heart energy, nothing seems to get
Mm.
through.
And in this work, it seems like half of the time the relationship gets better, she opens, and maybe half of the time it doesn't, whether she stays closed or he decides he doesn't want to be with her eventually. What is it about a woman who decides that she's not going to open herself again to possibly being hurt? If she decides, nope, I'm shielding myself, what is it about that why would she choose that?
I'm pausing because I understand for each woman that might be different. However, in general, that is because she's so invested in the story that you are wrong, you've wronged her, uh, she's right, uh, she can't get what she needs from you. And it's there's so much in this current culture about, that's the empowerment of a woman to decide I'm going to take care of all my needs for myself and go in this direction. But what that really is an avoidance of the vulnerability of actually receiving what she's truly wanting and truly wanting from you. And for a lot of women who are are not, it's not recognized, like, hey, receiving from the masculine the gift that you've been so hungry for is takes skill and practice. She will just turn away from that vulnerability and run in the other direction.
And this idea today, let me go to our topic of today. What is it about trying to bargain with her? Okay, so let's say if trying to pierce her heart, as you said, with this invitation of intention of growing together, of level three, like we talk about, of depth, if that doesn't seem to be working, well, how maybe I can bargain with her. Maybe we can make this logical. Why is that not help her to come back to softness and openness? What happens when a man uses logic to try to bargain with her?
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. And I would say even in our current world and our culture, it almost is presented that that's how a relationship moves forward. There's compromise, there's bargaining. I get A, you get A. Uh, but what you're dealing with is someone who, even if she's so logical on the outside, even if she's really good at bargaining herself verbally with you, you're dealing with someone whose entire motivational system is based on emotional response and feeling. And there's a downside to that because she can't just play that, bargaining chip masculine game really well. And there's a really wonderful side of that. But when it becomes a game of who like gets more chips than the other, I'll give you these chips, you take away, her way of playing in that game, it's she's never going to win. And I would offer that you're never going to win because it's two different games that are being played.
She told me this is a lose-lose situation for her because even if her decides to divorce, she will lose, and if she decides to stay, she will also lose because she have to give up on herself. I really don't understand that.
Hmm. Right. That's so painful that she sees things that way.
Yes, lose.
Right. You to ever think that your wife, your woman that you've been building life and family with would think this is so painful. Yeah. Yeah. So do you have a question at this point for you? You sound looks like you're building your own life and you know you need to bring joy into your own heart first, regardless. But what's next for you?
I'm not sure in this point. I'm not sure. I I always hope that this will be a bad dream or something, that I will wake up and say, "You, thank you. This is only a dream." But it's not gonna happen. Then we are. I think we're day by day we are more far away from each other and from the relationship.
Yeah. So if it keeps going this way, say it's 1 year from now or 2 years from now and things are the same with her, what would you want? What would you do about that?
I really don't know. In this point, I don't know. I cannot imagine myself in a different story yet.
Mm.
Well, it looks like you're building that story. That's what you can control, the story of you, the story of what brings joy and worth into your life. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. This time that you're in, I call it a famine. It's a famine of connection with her. It's a famine of her validation of you. It's a famine, a breaking of the story that you thought was going to always be. And so there's this hole, there's this crevice where you wanted relationship to be. And so what do we do with this giant hole, this crevice that's in our life? And that's what you're facing right now.
It is a hole, yes.
Yeah. It's good to see you. Do you have any question for us today?
Not so far. I'm all ears.
Perfect. It's great to see you. I'm glad you turned your camera on. I think this is the first time I've seen your face. It's good to see you. Yeah, you look happy. It's good. Good stuff. Tell us about a story where you,
Down.
yeah, Nevin, go for it.
What's
Man,
up,
good to see
guys?
you.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the title come in through and I just happened had to have the time, so I was like, all right, this is an interesting one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I relate to so much of what you were saying, and even the previous gentleman that came on. Like, I don't know. The one thing I related to is that I felt like being villainized by the whole process. You know, I can understand now that she was going through her own things and things were happening, and she was feeling a certain way, and but to be the source of everything wrong in her life all comes down to me, and I'm some kind of the version of me that lives in her mind is some kind of monster. I mean, for a while there, yeah, you guys know some parts of it, but I was just spinning like, oh my god, am I thought some of these things she's saying, like, am I is my perception of reality so warped? Like, am I like seriously some kind of psychopath that like am I, you know, and I have my friends assuring me, no, man, it's not you. I promise you that you guys were assuring me, and all the men's group people are like, no, this she's going through something. And I now have more grounded perception of all that. But where I'm still in a place where I'm like, I cannot understand how could she this version of me live in her mind. You know, I like, and I that's the part that I'm still working on, trying to find acceptance or empathy for her and whatever she must be going through. Because man, whatever she's going through must be really tough to torpedo your life and to, you know, everything with the kids and the logistics of it all and financially, just every component of it seems like it's like the wrong choice. Yet she's so resolute in that this is ordained by God that she must go down this path and all these things. And it's just like, oh my God, what? Like, I'm just having trouble finding that source of empathy within me to kind of, hey, you're on your journey. That's cool. I'm not there yet and I don't know how. So how would, I guess my question would be, how does one find that level of deep empathy for, for your woman who you built your life around, you know, going through that?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. The first phase, and I lived through this. This is how I came to this work over a decade ago. So the first phase is destruction, where the building's collapsing, the rubble's spewing everywhere. There's destruction, emotional, kids, finances. How could she think this of me? I'm the bad guy. I was the villain in the story constantly in my past relationship, right? And at the end, well, I'll keep it onto your question. I was going to tell more of my story, but I'll share that another time. So there's definitely a phase of destruction where we're just knocked the fuck down. We feel like you've been punched in the mouth, you're bleeding all over, your knees have been taken out. So getting up, brushing yourself off, stopping the bleeding for your own self by doing this work, coming around your great friends or your men's group or family that can support you and give you feedback to change your mindset that no, it's not all your fault. No, you didn't cause the world to crumble all around you, just like she may be saying. And so having your own point of view, your own sense of groundedness. Let me jump to, there's a few takeaways I wanted to share today. Here's one of them, right? Number three of the 3 points I'm going to share later, building your own worth. Who are you regardless of her opinion? And that's the phase that you're in now. Who am I regardless of her opinion? And it takes a while to get there. It takes moving past that destruction and okay, just taking care of my kids and I'm on life support emotionally and otherwise to okay, who am I without her? Because for 10 years, 20 years, 35 years for some guys, you never even thought about that, never even considered I'm gonna have to build my own worth without this person who sees me as the total bad guy in the situation. And that's where you're in. And on the other side of you feeling better about yourself, you can start to have the capacity for some empathy. You can start to feel a healthy distance that with friends and maybe attention from, positive things in your life. So let me ask you that question. How have you built your own sense of worth? How have you built your own, frame of who you are during this time?
Yeah, that's been a huge part of the journey. That not only did I have that issue now since the, divorce bomb, but prior to that, even before meeting her, that was an issue. Just dealing with raised in a rough home and whatever, all sorts of stuff. So you start to realize, oh, these issues are consistent. So that's been a journey that I've been on, going deep into, and been helpful. And I guess I'm in a place where I'm, making decisions based on what brings me joy. I think you mentioned that earlier. What are the things that I can do daily, from the smallest of decisions to bigger ones? Is that going to bring me joy, and finding that joy within me, and actually checking in with myself? Hey, do I actually want to do this, or am I feeling some kind of sense of obligation due to some childhood issue, right? Some sense of having only sense of value is if I provide this XYZ for someone else, as opposed to checking in, is that truly what I want to do within my own heart? Um, so that's been a guiding light for me. And being okay with just being okay, just being okay with just, the path I'm on is where I'm at today. That's totally fine, and not feeling like some sense like I have to be further down or more developed, or, you know,
Mm.
it's all good, you know. And not feeling like like anyone else has any control over how I'm feeling. I like taking control of all of that, especially in a relationship setting, whether it's a friendship or a romantic one.
Yeah, that's fantastically put. And so let me go back to your question. Because you're this new version of a man, this, let's say, more spiritually open or more centered in yourself, whatever words you want to use, more in touch with God, some men will say, whatever words that you use, it's a new echelon through this work, through your persistence and your consistency of, I'm okay. She doesn't need to think one thing about me or the other. I'm okay regardless. I know I'm a good man. I built my friendships. I'm on a path in life for myself, wherever that is, and I'm okay. I was okay, I am okay, and I'm going to be okay. That new level was, at least for me, precipitated by that phase of disaster. I wasn't really motivated to do deeper work, more spiritual work, whatever word any particular man wants to use. I wasn't really motivated to grow more other than, go to work and coach my kids' t-ball team and, try to have a beer on the weekend or whatever. Like that was about it. Thought I was doing good. And then it was disaster. And I chose to then rocket into the next echelon of who am I? How do I serve the world? What's really important? I see you nodding as I'm saying these things. I think that's the key that unlocks potential empathy for her. And my previous relationship, I don't even talk with this person any longer, right? It's like she wanted nothing to do with me. She didn't want to co-parent with me. It was nothing. And then I met this amazing person here, and we've built a new relationship based on these foundations that we teach, these principles that we teach. Cynthia and I do. We practice them every day. So to have a partner who actually wants that with you was something I didn't even know was possible before. So
Yeah,
empathy for
no,
her. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I think for me there's quite a bit of resentment in still there. I mean, it's whittled down some since the acute stages of everything, but it's still there. Had our daughter's birthday party the other weekend, and I found it to be challenging just to be around there, because I was just kind of like, okay, it was a test. It was for me. It was like, okay, can I just enjoy the moment and enjoy my daughter's birthday, or am I going to be in the back of my head, some wheels spinning? And certainly there were times where I was like, you know,
Right. Yeah.
and I did some investigation there, and there's still quite a bit of resentment, like, there. So I think that's kind of in the path that I need to get through and process and release, and until I can find that level of empathy that's just going to allow me to just be with that.
Yeah, that's well put. It's a journey. I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you.
It seems like a really distinct but important difference between a woman who is, or maybe has a perceived sense of entitlement, and then maybe her just trying to kind of find her own way, um, through whatever self-development, finding confidence, being comfortable with herself. Pick your poison on how you want to describe it. But it seems to me like the lines can maybe get blurred there.
Mm.
And so it may be difficult to, kind of diagnose that and see it for what it is. Because I think that it's important in understanding that, because if we don't, we may grow, we may be more reserved as men and how we respond to that, what we think about it, how we believe it's affecting the relationship and so on.
Entitlement in a woman can kind of come when she's actually pretty uncomfortable with things being good. And so she even avoids that. She avoids ease with you. She avoids connection because her whole nervous system is wired to be uncomfortable with safety and uncomfortable with goodness. And so she wants to create the row, and she wants to create someone else as bad and that she's good. And that's really different than a woman who's maybe in the place of, oh, I don't feel good. Things don't feel safe for me. I'm looking to grow into that safety and connection and goodness that's being created in partnership. And so that's one is kind of the destructress who's gonna take whatever she can get, and the other might be, yeah, she might be in her own swamp, yeah, she might be casting aspersions, but she's looking to get out of the swamp, and she's looking for the forest path through the trees that you with such skill are planting and growing for the relationship between the two of you.
I mean, in the context of my relationship, it's hard to tell because I see both of those things. That's why it's so damn confusing sometimes. Um, I mean, I definitely, Cynthia said about her showing in these, in these moments where there's like this softening. I mean, I definitely see that. But, and it's not like I'm keeping score, but there's just, I still think that there's probably more of her, kind of shutting down, closing down, any like willingness or sense to move forward and continue to open, when compared against the other side of it. So, just continuing to chip away, right? Do the best I can to try and lead that in the right direction. But it's discouraging, obviously, at times when you're kind of hoping for a different response or a different reaction, and it tends to kind of revert back or maybe just stay the way that it's been for a long time. So, but like I said, it can be hard. It can be really hard to kind of tell the difference between the two. I guess that explanation is going to help. I can kind of look for some of those things, but it's like a very, a lot of the responses are very hardened, it's very short, quip, kind of laissez-faire, and not a lot of like, positive emotional regard from her end. whether she realizes that or not, or if she even recognizes what I'm trying to do. Um, I guess that's another part of the equation. Does she even, kind of understand and comprehend? I have to imagine she does, because I flat out told her, like, hey, this is the direction I want to go. Is some of the things that I want for us in the future. So I don't think it's a mystery to her. So I guess that's the discouraging part, is telling her all that and then trying to lead by example, and just kind of watching the distance grow, a little bit at a time. It doesn't seem to be catching up, right? So
Yeah, that makes sense, right? And we're all on a journey one way or the other, but your persistence with her is something that's important to you. So that's, of course, a key to this for you, Paul, is that you want to leave no stone unturned, and that's why you're dedicated and you're consistent. And you don't want it to be like this forever. You wouldn't have it be like this forever. But for now, for this chapter of time, you're putting in your efforts and your heart and your own consistency. And every one of us have triggers, like Cynthia was saying too. So I appreciate you being here. Certainly, it's hard sometimes. Yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't hit subscribe, go ahead and hit subscribe. And I would love to talk with you if you want help in this time. If you don't know which way to go, if you don't know what to do or what to say, reach out. Greatmenmovemountains.com. Right?
Post your questions in the comments below. Also, go up to our video details. We have a link there for our at-home video course. This is all about knowing what to do to turn your marriage around quickly.
So, number one, we want to break old nice guy habits of pandering, tiptoeing, and appeasing. And I'll ask Cynthia about this here in a moment. We realize that we've tried to bargain, we've tried to sell ourselves short, let's say, or sell ourselves out even over time, trying to appease the world or her, or pandering, trying to make her happy in this moment. And that doesn't work, right? That's not effective long term. So we want to break old nice guy habits. We want to begin with the end in mind of what type of life do you want? How do you want to be as a man every day, regardless of what's going on with her? And then, as Nevin was saying, and as we've been talking about, building your own worth. Who are you regardless of her opinion? So, Cynthia, number one here, pandering, tiptoeing, appeasing. Why does that not work? It might make her happy in the moment. We've talked about this before in the past too. But this idea, if a man tries to pander or tiptoe and bargain with her, why is that ultimately not a great idea? Why does that not open her to level 3? What happens there when he bargains in this way?
Yeah, and again, it makes, I mean, perfect sense if the woman in your life is not behaving well. Maybe she has some, things that she says that come across as really entitled, but she says, oh, if you just do this, then this will all be better. It makes complete sense to want to try to join in that and move the boat forward. And what you're doing, what the masculine's doing when he joins his woman in that kind of energy, even if it's on the bargaining level, is you're playing the same card game as her. And so, whatever she's getting out of her emotional reactions or her stony one word responses, she's getting something out of that, whether she realizes it or not. And so, even if it's the tiptoeing around it, she continues that feedback loop of, I act a certain way, I get the response I want, I can continue the story I have about our marriage, myself or him, and there's an emotional hit for her. And that's so different than the way I see men like you creating shifts in relationship. And it's not the same card game as her, but it's actually providing for the relationship what deep down beneath all those layers she is actually truly yearning and needing and probably has never experienced in her life. And it's your landscape of the relationship, and it's the invitation for her to join you in that landscape, where she gets to learn new feedback loops and new recognitions of what emotionality can truly be like in relationship.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You're inviting her into that kind of relationship. And ultimately, if she doesn't want to join you there, you're still going to grow that in life, hopefully with her or with another woman. And how to face that challenge is what we're here to talk about. So if you want to email between now and when we talk again next, definitely reach out to me. If you got the invite for today, hit reply and send me a question or send me an email if you have something in between now and when we see you again next. Thanks, Cynthia. Appreciate it. See you guys in a few weeks. Happy summer break. Good to see you guys. Thanks, Cynthia. Bye, guys. Ciao.